Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to Kitchen Tonic. Welcome back to another brand new tasty recipe on this channel here. Welcome back. Welcome. In this video here today, we're going to be making a nice, tasty Guyanese classic, guys. And that is your Guyanese style Chinese restaurant fried rice, guys. So without further delay, let's jump right into this recipe here. What we're going to be needing for this recipe are the ingredients here are some cabbage, and I also have some scallions here. You guys can also use some bora or whatever you have available to you. Moving on, here we have some onions. Over here I have one medium-sized onion that I went ahead and chopped up in this bowl here. If you guys want, you can feel free to use less onions or more onions based on your preference. Moving on, here we're going to be using some beef for this recipe here as well, because we are going to be making some beef fried rice here, guys. So yeah, what I went ahead and did with this beef here, I went ahead and washed it off with some lime juice. I then went ahead and seasoned it with half of a beef flavored bouillon cube. I then went ahead and added some Caribbean green seasoning to this beef here, and then I had it marinating for about 4 hours right now. Moving on, we're going to be using 3 large eggs for this recipe here, as well as some soy sauce. What I have in this container here, I have 2 tablespoons of soy sauce as well as 2 tablespoons of water, which is in that container, by the way, whether you can see it or not. We're also going to be using about a teaspoon of brown sugar for this recipe here, as well as 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Over here we have 1.5 tablespoons of sesame oil that we're going to be using to flavor up this recipe here. And in this container here, I'm going to be using some fried rice seasoning in this recipe here today. We're also going to be using some green peas as well as some carrots. And like I mentioned, if you guys have bora or any other ingredients that you want to go ahead and add to this recipe here, feel free to do that. We're also going to be using 3 cups of rice that I went ahead and already boiled. And then I placed it in my fridge so that it can get that old rice flavor or taste that we need for this recipe here. If you guys are short on time, you can go ahead and boil your rice the way you boil it, and then you have to make sure that you place it in the fridge to get that nice fried rice texture and everything going. Or if you do have time, you can go ahead and just boil your rice and leave it overnight to sit in the fridge. And without any further delays, we're going to jump right into this recipe. We're going to continue seasoning up this beef here because it do needs to marinate for an additional 10 minutes after we finish with the remainder of our seasoning here. So let's jump ahead and do that. Alright guys, so like I said, we do need to add a little bit more seasoning to this beef here, and that is my soy sauce. We're going to add a little bit of soy sauce into our beef here to get that nice texture going or that nice flavor going. And we're also going to go ahead and add some sesame oil to this beef here as well. And finally, we're going to add some cornstarch. This is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch that I'm going to be adding to this recipe here. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and mix this up. And then I'm going to set it aside to marinate for about 10 more minutes before actually frying it up. Okay guys, so while this is marinating, we're going to move ahead and begin frying up our eggs. I am going to be cooking my eggs here for this recipe separately, but if you guys want to go ahead and cook it together if you don't have enough time, which this recipe here is really about having enough time, but you can also go ahead and start frying up your onions and everything, and then go ahead and scramble your eggs into that. But for me today, I'm going to be cooking my egg here separately. So while this beef here is going to be marinating a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and start cooking these eggs. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit oil into my pot here as we're getting ready to start scrambling these eggs. Just going to go ahead and spread that out a little bit. And what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to go ahead and scramble these eggs, guys. Alright, go ahead and add your egg to your pan here. And you can also go ahead and add as much black pepper or salt that you want or need to your eggs here. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper into this eggs here, as well as some salt. Let's go ahead and scramble these eggs, guys. Alright guys, after you finish scrambling your eggs here, we're going to go ahead and set that aside and wait for our beef here to finish marinating, and then we're going to go ahead and fry our beef up. So I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes when this beef here has completed its final marination. Alright guys, so here we are again. My beef has marinated for about 10 minutes, and now we're going to go ahead and begin frying up this beef here so that we can continue with the recipe that we have going here. Our beef fried rice, guys, our beef and egg fried rice, since there is egg being incorporated into the recipe here as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and let my oil there get hot. Alright guys, I'm just going to go ahead and place my pieces of beef into this oil here. Make sure that you don't get burnt or splattered or anything, as your beef here has been marinating in a little liquid. So alright guys, and we're gonna fry this beef until it's finished and have a nice dark brown looking color to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna come back to finish off this recipe here. Alright guys, so it's finally time to bring this fried rice here together, guys. So what we're going to go ahead and do now, we're going to go ahead and turn our heat on first and foremost, and now we're going to go ahead and add I'm adding some olive oil to my pan here. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and let our oil heat up a little, and then you're going to go on in with your onions. Like I said, add as much or as little onions as your preference, that suits your preference. I'm also going to go on in with my garlic here, my minced garlic, as well as a new addition which I did not mention at the beginning, but we are going to be adding about 1 teaspoon of ginger to this recipe here today as well. Diced ginger, that is diced or mixed or pureed ginger, however you want to properly term that. And we're going to go ahead and let our onions, garlic and ginger here saute for about a minute or two, and then we're going to continue adding the rest of our ingredients. Alright guys, so after about a minute here, what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to go ahead and add my cabbage into my pot here. My cabbage as well as my scallions or green onions. Straight into my pot there. Okay guys, right away we're also going to bring in the star of the show, which is our rice that we're going to go ahead and add to this pan here as well. Like I said, our day-old rice. You don't want to be using fresh rice. Alright guys, at this point after you've added your rice, we're going to go on in and add our green peas and carrots. And as we add each ingredient, we're going to be folding it into the pan. And I do have my heat on high heat right now, as this is fried rice, guys. Alright guys, after you've added your green peas, we're going to go on in with our soy sauce, our sugar, as well as our water into this pot here right away. Alright guys, as you can see, this is coming together very nicely. What we're going to go ahead and do now, we're going to go ahead and add our fried rice seasoning to my pot here. And we're going to go on in and mix this up. Okay guys, and finally we're going to go on in with our sesame oil. I'm also going to go on in and add my beef as well as my egg back into this pot here as well. And we're going to give this a nice mix. Then we're going to check for salt content, and then that will be it, guys. Alright guys, and there we have it. My version of the Guyanese style Chinese fried rice, guys. Now, like I said, you guys can go ahead and taste for salt content, and you can go ahead and add a little bit more soy sauce if needed, or add a little bit more of that fried rice seasoning if needed. But with that said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys another day, another time, with another brand new video.